Right. A very young Alan Shearer with loads of hair. What is that? Whilst I was playing for Wallsend and playing for Newcastle Boys, I got spotted by a scout who's sadly no longer with us, who I had a great relationship with, Jack Hickson, and asked me if I'd want to go on trial down to Southampton as a 13-year-old. He goes to my mum and dad on the side of the pitch who were there watching me, "Can I invite your son on a trial down to Southampton?" And their response was, "Why are you asking us? Go and ask him." So that was how I was brought up. I was asked to sign apprentice forms, which meant me moving away from Newcastle on a permanent basis as a 15-year-old. I remember standing on the platform with my parents when that day the train was pulling out of the platform. I remember the tears coming down my mum's face, because I mean, 15 is a crazy age to leave home. You're not just, I wasn't just leaving home, I was more moving 330 miles down the road. And then that was it. That was the start of my professional career, because I signed a professional contract. I was no longer on YTS forms. I was no longer on £27.50 a week. I was a professional footballer. I signed a 3-year contract 2 days later.
So what's different about that probably you wouldn't see these days?
Yeah, the salary. And I thought I was immediately really wealthy and really rich. I was on 225 quid a week and a £6,000 signing on fee, which I always remember going out and buying my first car with Red Escort. I spent £3 on a car when I was 17, and I thought that was it. I was the richest man in the world. It was, wow, I'm now a professional footballer. All my dreams have sort of happened and come true. But it was also the start of, well, you think you have to work hard to get to this point. This is where the real work now starts. Wow. Yeah. Technically, a club who wants to buy you should contact the football club they want to buy you from. But of course there's agents involved now, and you can't speak to that or a representative from the football club until they have agreed a fee with my club, Southampton at the time. So went for the talks with Blackburn, which went really well. I really liked what I heard from Kenny, Ray and Jack, and I knew the plans that Blackburn had. Those three were going to be successful. I remember going back home on the Monday or the Tuesday and saying to Blackburn, "Can you give me till the end of the week and I'll come back with a decision?" They agreed. In the meantime, I had a call from a representative from Manchester United saying they wanted to speak to me, blah, blah, blah. I said, of course, but they couldn't get the money together. Could I wait a while? And I said, well, I promised I'd give Blackburn an answer by the end of the week, and I never heard anything back. So it was a British record transfer fee at the time. I think it was 3.3 million. Well, this is where I signed my contract. It was actually in the other stand. We're in a different stand now, but what they did is, this is the exact boardroom. They've actually lifted it from the previous stand, and it's now in the stand behind the goal. So, but it is the boardroom where I signed my contract. Is it the same table? I don't know. I love coming back here. So many great, and I mean great, memories. I had 4 incredible years here. Of course, it was all topped off with that season when we eventually took the big boys on and beat them and won the Premier League. I remember the moment just being huge, sheer relief. And it went right down to the last game, which was pretty stressful. We were top of the league. We knew going to play Liverpool at Anfield, last game of the season. Manchester United were gunning for us, they were chasing us down, and we know that Man United are at Upton Park, they're playing against West Ham, but that didn't really matter. If we won, we'd be Premier League champions. We go 1-0 up. Because of Kenny's relationship with the Liverpool fans, the whole of Anfield wanted Kenny to win it, and they didn't want Man United to win it. Even the players, we felt on the pitch, the Liverpool players were, come on, we can't have Man United win this. They never said that, but we sort of got the feeling. Then they scored, so late on in the game, and then they scored another one, and all of a sudden we're cruising at 1-0. Now we're being beaten 2-1 with 2 minutes to go, and we're now panicking, thinking what's going on at Upton Park. Are West Ham beating Man United? And then all the crowd reaction, we were looking at the crowd, and then from thinking, God, we've lost this title here, to then a minute later seeing all the Blackburn fans go ecstatic, and then looking over to the bench, Kenny going berserk with Ray Harford cuddling each other, Jack Walker in the stands, and the whole of Anfield all of a sudden is going mad because Man United haven't won at Upton Park, which means we're the Premier League champions. So it was a bit of a surreal moment, really. You could see the relief on everyone. You could see the relief on Kenny, on Jack, on myself, on all the players. And probably more importantly, you could see the relief on the fans. Kenny took us all out as a team, as a huge group, into a restaurant, into Preston, and then partied the night away. It was one hell of a special feeling. As are the pride that I felt when I left Southampton to go to Blackburn as Britain's most expensive player. Now all of a sudden I'm the world's most expensive player. When I was leaving Blackburn to go to Newcastle, Tim Shearer was saying to me at the time, and he was the captain, what's the fee? I said, it's 15 million. He goes, oh my God, no pressure there then, as if to say, wow, that's a crazy amount. I mean, people looked at it then and thought, 15 million quid, wow, what? I mean, that's ridiculous. I remember everyone keep mentioning the fee in the dressing room, having a laugh and a joke, trying to make me feel at ease and joking about it. Someone's that crazy to pay that amount of money, that's not my issue. I can only go out and do what I can try and do. I was immensely proud that I was the world's most expensive player, so that didn't put a burden or a pressure on me. I loved it. I enjoyed that people were looking at me to go out and score them the goals. I was determined that nothing was getting in the way of Euro '96 because it was that important. But once we'd got knocked out of Euro '96, I was getting calls left, right and centre. Man United want you, or Newcastle want you. Spoke to both on the same day, Kevin Keegan in the morning and Sir Alex Ferguson in the afternoon. After a couple of days, Kevin Keegan had said he was en route to the Far East where Newcastle were in pre-season. I want to fly from Manchester, can I come and meet you again for half an hour? Which he did. And that was it. That's when I made my mind up then that I thought, you know what, I'm going to go home. I'm going back to my football club where I left as a 15-year-old, and I'm going to be the world's most expensive player. And I never ever went back home to my house. I got a bag packed from my house, sent in a taxi to the airport and jumped on a flight, and I went and joined Newcastle in the Far East on their pre-season trip. I had to ring Alex Ferguson up and tell him that I'd made my decision. So I did that in the car on the way to the airport, and I rang his number and no answer. I rang it again and there was no answer, so I rang it for a third time and I had to leave a message to say that my decision was made and I was going to go back to Newcastle, but thanked him for his interest. But I never got a call back, surprisingly. I mean, I've had the question a million times, are there any regrets? Nah, there aren't any regrets with what I've had and what I've got. Can you live up to a transfer fee? Could I live up to being the world's most expensive player? The eyes were on me, are you going to score goals? But I didn't ever think that was any real pressure. I thought the real pressure was when I turned an apprentice when I was 15. I had to get a professional contract because I didn't know what else I was going to do. I wasn't comfortable to do anything else. Football was all I knew. So from the age of 15 to 17, nearly 18, was the biggest time that I felt pressure rather than when I was a professional. But I always remember coming home from that trip and then having the unveiling at St James's Park, where it was, the weather was horrific, it was pouring a rain, it was a weekday, and I remember when I walked out onto the stand outside St James's Park, and there must have been 15,000 people there, and I'm in the Newcastle top. I'm thinking, why aren't you at work? Why aren't you at school? It was like, I just walked out and I thought, wow, this is just bonkers, this is ridiculous. For me, as a player from the area, because it was always my dream to, because I used to go and stand on the terraces as a 12-year-old to watch my hero, Kevin Keegan. Now, he was my manager, he was introducing me to the crowd, and to eventually put that number 9 shirt on was an amazing feeling. And I look back on the 10 years I had with Newcastle, no trophies, but I got the goal scoring record, the statue. I had the privilege to wear the number 9 shirt, to score the goals, had a testimonial, which then set up my foundation after that. So if I had the same decision to make again, I would make exactly the same decision.